Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Out of Thomas video podcast show talking about the articles that I'm publishing in my website, theoutofThomas.wordpress.com. Thomas with no H, because, my name is from the Spanish language. It's actually pronounced Tomas, but I digress. Let's talk about my latest article, Bitcoin, a new psychotechnology. Ooh. So, what is psychotechnology? It sounds a little bit like sci-fi, but I've been reading about this, and I thought it was really interesting a topic to make a little post and a video podcast about it. So, psychotechnology are inventions that, because when, let's say, you discover a new technology like, I don't know, a hammer. So the hammer makes a task easier. It makes it take less time and less energy. Most of the technologies we created fall on that category. But there's also a few technologies or inventions that we did throughout human history that actually changed the way our mind works. You know, the clearest example is language, right? Once you can communicate complex ideas and thoughts, that changes everything, the way your mind works. Now, every time you think with language. It's very hard to think without using language. It changed everything. The same can be said for like numbers and math. Uh, our whole the whole way we process information shifts, and that always ends up transforming the whole world, because the way we organize ourselves, the way we build our societies, it all gets changed when the way our mind works changes. And the written word was another big one. Once that got spread out, it changes in a very deep way, because we were able to leave information behind after we died, and it made learning a lot faster. And what we usually see when these technologies first appear is that first they tend to be kept by a small number of people. When in the beginning, like at the beginning of the written word, not a large number of the population knew how to read or write. That was something that was reserved for some sort of elite group of small number of people, and those were able to control the flow of information. Once we get the printing press, that started to shift, and it started to become more widespread, and more people starting to learn how to read and write, and more people had the ability to publish things. And that, of course, that changed the whole society. And the internet was another of these psychotechnologies that is creating fundamental changes to everything, because now I can, even just with a little camera and a microphone, I can just speak my mind, and I can throw it out into the ether, and anybody can just connect to it and listen to it. This is revolutionary technology. It, like, before, only people that had a radio show or a TV show could do this, and it would cost them a lot of money, and there were very few options for people to tune into. And now everybody can do it. It's completely democratized, and every year is getting cheaper. The microphones are getting much cheaper. Producing the stuff, YouTube is free, Rumble is free, the internet it's a lot cheaper than when it first began. So that is breaking down the barriers of entry, and that is wonderful. It's not all good. It also has some drawbacks because you can control the amount of crazy people throwing crazy information out there. But overall, I believe this is good. It's great. But now I see Bitcoin as the new psychotechnology. As I speak in the article, I didn't understand anything of the economic structure that our whole society is based on. And I don't think I was the only one that only started to understand it once I started looking into Bitcoin. I think a lot of people around the world are finally beginning to understand how the economic structures work, where they are not ideal or they're not working as we would want them to. And we started to see who's benefiting from the broken system. And not only that, but also for the first time in humankind, we have a way out of the system. We have a completely independent economic structure that no one controls, but more importantly, it's not only nobody controls it, but nobody can control it. There is no way for a small group of people to gain enough leverage on the system, on Bitcoin, to actually control it. And that is such a revolutionary thing. And it's, the more I learn about Bitcoin, I can see my mind is starting to work differently. I can see its effect. It's making my thinking more clear, deeper, and I'm starting to think a lot more long term. Whereas in the traditional economic structure, we are much more incentivized to think quick, fast, and to look for immediate gains and short-term thinking, because the whole inflation, which is now getting slightly out of hand, means that your money tomorrow is going to be worth less than your money today. So that even if you don't understand why, you feel it, and that drives you to try to consume and to gain as quickly as possible. You know, I think that a lot of what we're seeing in the crypto markets, all these coins that jump high up like crazy, like Shiba Inu or Dogecoin, or a lot of the NFT stuff, is people are feeling that they're losing their purchasing power holding on to dollars. So they're trying to put it into something that's going to quickly give them that high rate of return. And I think that the whole space is literally going on a manic, crazy phase right now. So I'm not trusting any of it. I'm only trusting Bitcoin right now because it's the only thing that makes sense to me at this stage. And I know that Bitcoin is something that I can trust over a long period of time. I do believe that we are in a period of transition and we are going to a Bitcoin standard. I think that is the end goal. I'm not sure how the transition is going to go. We might have a few rough batches that we need to go through, but I know that in the end, we will arrive at a Bitcoin standard, and that's what I'm thinking about. So it seems like we are in this game of musical chairs, and we don't know when the music's gonna stop, but when it does, whoever is holding the Bitcoin is gonna win. So I'm just buying and holding Bitcoin. And that's pretty much all I'm doing right now. But yeah, I just wanted to put this topic of psychotechnologies and how interesting it is, how it's changing our mind. I started trying to teach my girlfriend about it, and I can see when I speak to her that her, she's not resisting, but she's reaching the end of her understanding, and it's stretching, and it's wonderful to see that happening in real time, because it's happening to me all the time as well, but it's harder for me to see it on myself. When I see it in someone else, it's much more clear. And I've been trying to do a lot that with my friends as well, and a lot of time people just reject it because they don't want to push further, their understanding. They don't want to expand. But when you find someone that's willing to sit down and really try to understand it, it's fascinating to watch. They struggle to expand their mental horizon. And I think that is happening every day, millions of times around the globe. So hey, if you look at Bitcoin, it went from 0 to almost 70,000, $1 trillion market cap in 13 years. It's growing obscenely fast, and every time it's faster and faster and faster. And there is no way that you can release such a disruptive technology into a society and it's not going to change it completely. So for me, like now, I see understanding Bitcoin as a moral duty. Now, this is what I wrote in the article: a moral duty to my unborn children, because I believe that we're going to a Bitcoin standard. So really understanding how it works and be early in adopting it is going to be massive. And I'm afraid that if I don't do it, I'm going to be cutting the opportunity of my children short. And I think it's imperative for all of us to do it. If not for us, for the generations that are coming after. There's a line that I put in the article that I heard. I'm paraphrasing it because I don't remember exactly how it goes, but it's something like: a society grows strong when people plant the trees whose shade they will never sit beneath. So pretty much it means you're planting the tree even though you're not going to sit upon its shadow, because you're not doing it for you, you're doing it for the generations that are coming after you. And to me, Bitcoin has changed that perspective, because I used to be much more short-term thinker. I used to try to get the quick gains, and now I'm just planning way down the line. And the decisions that I'm making are, I'm not thinking what can I do to make tomorrow better. I'm thinking what can I do to make 10 years from now better. And I think that, again, that is happening every day. People are making this shift around the entire world because we're more connected than ever. Information travels faster than ever. Producing this kind of content and releasing it has never been cheaper. So we are in a very interesting moment in history. And I think it should be high priority for everyone right now to understand this time, to understand these new technologies, and to start preparing ourselves, because the world that is coming is going to be much, much more different than the world of today. And we need to be ready. We need to pay attention, keep our eyes open. I always say this because that's the only thing I know. I don't exactly know how the world is going to be in the future. All I know is it's going to be different, and that we need to pay attention, to be adaptable, nimble, to keep our options open so that we can smoothly transition. And I'm afraid for all the people that are not paying attention, all the people that have their eyes closed and they're burying their head in the sand like ostriches, because those people, I don't think the future is going to be kind to them. And a lot of the times it's not their fault. They just don't have anyone around them to point this stuff out. A lot of times, I think we've been taught in school just to listen to the authority figures, do what they say. If you repeat, what they say, you get an A. If you don't, you fail. And we've been conditioned from very early on to just listen to what our teacher said. And unfortunately, the teacher, which now would be traditional media and government structures, government officials, they all have their interests are not aligned right now. Because if Bitcoins keep growing like it will, like there's no way to stop it now, they're gonna lose power. So it's not in their incentive to help anyone understand what's happening. Most likely they would like to slow it down as much as possible. And yeah, it's very unfortunate. That's why I'm writing my articles, that's why I'm making my videos, is to help people understand that this is happening and everybody should take it very, very seriously. Unfortunately, I don't think how much more I can do, but I'd rather do a little bit, even though it's not going to be enough, but I'd rather still do that little bit, even if I'd rather do a little bit than do nothing. There is a great South American fable that talks about a forest gets engulfed in flames, and all the animals rush out of the forest, and they just stand there looking at the forest being burnt, right? And everybody is very disheartened, and they're like, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening. This is awful. Our home, everything is gone. So everyone is doing that except for a little hummingbird, right? And this hummingbird, he goes to the lake and he grabs a few drops of water in his beak, is all it can carry. And it flies away to the fire and he drops the little drops. And he goes back to the lake and he gets more drops and he continues to do that back and forth. Always boom, 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 boom. At one point, the other animals come to him and they're like, oh, what are you doing? You will never put the fire out, but just carrying, a few drops every time. It's never going to happen. Like, why are you doing this? And the hummingbird just looks at them and he says, well, I'm doing what I can. And that's what I'm doing. I'm doing what I can. I'm throwing these little drops on the fire and I'm not going to be able to put it out. But if we all do what we can, then, we can help the transition be much smoother. The problem is that most people, they just, they rather not do it. Or they'd rather just make themselves ready for the change and not let anybody else know. I have these conversations with my friends a lot. My friends, the ones that understand what's happening, they always tell me like, well, why are you wasting your time trying to warn people? Either they'll see it or they won't. And I don't know. I guess I'm just like that little hummingbird. I'm just doing what I can. It's very little. It's just a few drops. It's not going to put out the fire. It's probably not going to do anything in the long run, but I'm here and I'm doing what I can. That's it. Anyway, Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening or reading if you actually took the time to read the article. As I move forward, the only thing I'm looking to do is to learn as much as I can and become better at conveying what I learn to anyone who's wanting to pay attention. I can only hope that this is useful for anyone out there. If so, I'm very, very happy, and that's all the reward that I need and the reward that I'm seeking. So just keep your eyes open, pay attention, stay nimble, adaptable, and hopefully we'll make it through this transition in a smooth, good way. Because in the end, once we are on a full Bitcoin standard and inflation stops being an issue, that's going to be great for everyone. That's going to be massive upside for everyone. So that at least keeps me extremely motivated and looking at the future with hope. It's just this. We just need to be careful in the transition period, and nobody knows how long it's gonna take. But hey, it's gonna be interesting at least. So anyway, that is that. Remember, you can always join the Substack if you want the articles to be dropped into your emails directly. Up to you. I'm not making any money from it, so it's the same to me. Anyway, see you on the next one, hopefully, and have a good one.